Steam Services. An
Oh, really?
electric truck mount. Yeah.
Steam Services?
That was.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes, I know which one you're talking about. The one that you could take in and out of the truck?
That's right.
Yeah.
It was a slide-in. It was the first slide-in that I knew of, anyway.
I had, Steam Genie made one like that.
Uh-huh.
And it was very similar to that, and I had that thing, and I made the mistake of buying it when it first came out, and I had a lot of trouble with that thing. But
yeah, you never buy the first year.
boy, I learned that.
With anything, basically, yeah.
No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I'm Ernie Goodrow.
Ernie.
I'm in the Seattle area.
Ernie, I have a question. How are you holding up after all these years cleaning? You still feel good?
Well, I don't do a lot of cleaning. I do a little bit. I train guys and I fill in, when needed. But I'm going to be 58 in about 2 weeks. So I've got some sore joints and arthritis, but I can go out and clean if I have to.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's why I schedule a monthly massage.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I should. If I was cleaning on a regular basis, I think I would probably have a massage once a week. I probably would. Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
How about you guys? Most of you guys are young guys, right?
My massage therapist moved to Oregon, and that's why I had to retire. So.
Very
important,
that was a good excuse.
Yeah. Hey, we're turning right into 7 o'clock here, so I think this would be a good time to get this started. We have all our panelists here, and so I'd like to welcome everyone to Meet the Experts. And this is a regularly scheduled program that's presented by CRA, and that's a new trade association that we have started. It's the Cleaning and Restoration Association. And my name is Steve Marsh, and along with Doug Keene, we're going to be your hosts for this program.
Hello to all.
That was Doug there?
That was Doug.
All right. Okay. We got you on the call. That was great. Last month, we had Doyle Bloss and Aaron Grossclose as our guest speakers. And, boy, they both had fantastic presentations. Doyle Bloss spoke on what it means to be green. And that was a presentation I heard, at a different opportunity, and I just was so impressed by it. I wanted him to do it again, and again, I was just taking notes, just great information. And Aaron Grossclose did a presentation on what it takes to expand into area rug cleaning. And Doug, do you just want to make any comments about maybe anything you picked up from that, or the?
Well, Aaron's kind of the guru in the industry for that end of it, for training-wise, and chemistry. He's got a wonderful line of chemistry, of which I use quite a bit of it. But he brought a wealth of information. You don't have to have a large space. I really was thrilled with his comments. He said as little as 500 square feet, you can get a rug plant going. Do it out of your garage if you need to, and it was really a minimalist idea, as opposed to the big Moore machines with which I had, and the dusters and the dry rooms and all that stuff. And he was really encouraging guys to, you can start small, but get training. And that's the key. So and use the right chemistry. So it was good stuff, and he made it sound like just about anybody can do it that has carpet cleaning equipment and a little bit of space.
Well, and I like that idea that, again, you talk to most of these rug guys, you have to have this whole big plant, and most people can't make that leap. I mean, that would be a heck of a leap of faith. And so I did like the idea that he presented, that it was possible to start small and grow into it. But again, having the training is what's, sounded like that was the most important thing.
Yeah, and I don't remember his numbers. Maybe you do, Steve. But if you're cleaning a 9 by 12, I think he said one a week, and at $3 a square foot, you can add a hefty amount to your bottom line just by doing one a week.
Yeah.
And that's right around the $300 range. So and it takes about 4 or 5 days to turn a rug around in a plant if you're doing it flat lay, flat clean. So that's nice money if you just turn one of your garage stalls into a cleaning room and you're making extra money. That's $900 a month. Who couldn't use that extra $1,000 a month almost? Plus, he was talking about selling underlayment and pad and things like that, which you can expand upon, and moth retardants and protectants and fringe replacement and other things to go along with that to add to the bottom line. But simple to do. As long as you get trained, I should say.
Yeah. What I'm hoping that this, to meet the experts, my vision for this program is that it opens up to the common, the carpet cleaner, the guy who is a mom and pop shop or just getting started or whatever, access to the leaders of our industry. It can be the people who write the magazine articles, or somebody like Aaron, who's an expert on a particular field, or in the instructors in the industry, is to give people the opportunity to meet them and talk to them. And so we're going a little different direction tonight, in that I felt like I wanted to open up and create this panel, and we have 4 outstanding companies that are going to be on this panel today. And when Ernie was talking a little earlier, he was talking about how many years he'd been in business, so I did the math quickly in my head, and the 4 panelists that we have on tonight have a total of over 100 years of experience in the industry. And I just got, well, that's a pretty impressive, group of people here. So
thanks, Steve. You're making me feel old now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if we added a couple of us in there, it would have even gone higher than that. But there's a lot of experience. So everybody here that's joining in as a guest, this is going to be their opportunity to listen to you guys who have experience and have proven yourselves as being successful. What is it that you guys do? And then the second half of the program, we're going to open it up to everybody can ask questions and to share insights that they have that may not have been shared by the panel. So we'll have an opportunity for everybody to contribute, and hopefully if you're a guest, boy, you just are going to be taking notes and really get a ton of information from this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, and for the guys on the panel, if you just watch your background noise for us, we'd appreciate that. Steve had mentioned that CRA, Cleaning and Restoration Association, is a new organization, and I'll just throw in my 2 cents on that, as a member, one of the options with CRA is to become a WFCA, World Floor Covering Association member, for a minimal cost, but you get that back in spades. World Floor Covering Association is the one who hosts Surfaces annually every year in Vegas. If you haven't been to Surfaces, it's a must-go-to for every carpet cleaner. You'll get to see all the new carpets that are coming out, stuff you're going to end up maintaining in a couple of years. And you get to talk to the people who manufacture it. You get to ask them about backing systems, protectants, all kinds of great stuff. Just a wealth of knowledge, and plan on wearing comfortable shoes and give yourself at least 2 days minimum to go through Surfaces. But with that WFCA membership, coupled along with the CRA membership, they will actually pay for you to go to the Surfaces or get other educational opportunities, such as IICRC certifications. So it pays for itself, literally. So the WFCA is a wonderful organization, and they host a fantastic event in Vegas annually. As a matter of fact, it'll be happening next week, I believe.
Are you headed to that Surfaces, Doug?
I'm not going to make it this year, unfortunately, with some other commitments, but I sure have gone in the past and have always enjoyed it. Plus, if you know some of the carpet reps, they do wine and dine you, so it's kind of fun to do that too.
If any of you do inspections or are even thinking about adding inspections to what you do, there will be a carpet inspector symposium held the day before Surfaces begins next week in Las Vegas, and I would encourage you guys to go.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go. I'm going to be there that day because I'm an inspector as well.
And who's on the line right now? Just for all the other callers and.
No, it's Bill Corden.
Bill, okay, Bill.
Yes. So
We
yeah,
have been giving the commercial.
Nice commercial. As a matter of fact, they're going to honor Carl Williams this year with a luncheon, I believe.
yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, Carl was the one who actually, yeah, as it should be. Carl was the one who kind of was the catalyst behind that, the Inspector Symposium, coupled with services. So excellent training, good company.
All right. Well, if you guys are ready to go, I'd like to introduce our panel. And again, we have just a great lineup of people here. The first one is Ernie Boudreau, who's been kind of chatting with people before the program started. Roby Harris, Bill Corridan, and Doug Keene, my co-host here. And so what I'd like to do as we get into the panel, what the discussion we're going to have today is to focus in on what are the procedures and the scripts and things that these fellows on the booths, when you pull up to a customer's house. So when you pull up to the house, you know, how do you greet the customer? What do you look like? What are the type of conversations you have as they lead you through the house to show you what sort of work needs to be done, and then get into how you pre-qualify. What kind of tests do you do on the carpet? What are you looking for? And then how do you have that conversation with the consumer? And
we only have an hour to answer all that.
We're going to fly through this thing here. So you got an hour and 5 minutes.
This is Doug Keene. I'll jump in first, and I'll let whoever else wants to follow me with anything they would more than happy to.
Well, Doug, if I can get you first of all, I want to go through and just have everybody just say who you are, you know, that's on the panel.
Oh, yeah, great.
Say how long have you been in business, the name of your company, and where are you located? Because everybody's located in a different kind of environment. And then, are you the cleaner, or do you have someone else doing some or all of the work for you? So, Doug, why don't you go ahead and give us just kind of a brief history, and then we'll get started on some of this discussion.
Fair enough. Again, my name is Doug Keene. Been in the industry next month, 25 years. I'm getting a little feedback, Steve, just so you know. Let's see, master cleaner, master restorer. I sat on the IICRC board for a couple of years as a representative for CFI. Was a active carpet inspector for about a decade. Taught for IICRC certification courses, both of carpet, upholstery, and odor. And let's see, I am now currently owner-operator. I do have one employee full-time and one gal part-time office staff. And I do some of the cleaning, very limited amount anymore. Enjoy it still immensely. Love the interaction with my clients. How's that for an introduction, Steve? Is that sufficient?
I think so. I think that's great. One.
And where do you work?
Oh yeah, good. Thank you. I'm down here in Lodi, California, right below Sacramento. It's a population of about 70,000 people, but I also service Stockton, and that population is about 360,000.
We're getting a little bit of feedback on the line, so if all the guests, because I don't want to mute everybody, I could do that, but if everybody can press in *6, except for the panelists, that will, on the phone, or you can click on the little panel that has either the telephone or the microphone, and that will put you on mute. And that way we hopefully can get rid of some of the background noise. I'm hearing the mute. That sounds good.
All right. Yeah, still getting a little feedback, but it's better. Alrighty. Do you want the rest of the panel to introduce themselves, Steve, or would you like me to tackle that question?
No, let's go with Bill and introduce yourself there, and we'll...
Okay. Bill Corridan, company name is Prestige Carpet, and we also do upholstery cleaning. And I'm actually on my 17th year, owner-operator, and San Jose Bay Area, Steve's neck of the woods. I'm IICRC Certified Master Cleaner and also a Senior Carpet Inspector. So no employees. My wife does phone calls and scheduling, and like I said, I'm on my 17th year and really enjoy it, really do.
All right, you want to go to Roby next?
Yeah, let's go to Roby.
Or if we don't have Roby, maybe Ernie can chime in.
Okay, yeah, I think Roby must have, maybe, I thought I heard him say he was going to go finish his dinner. That was a while ago.
I'm there.
I think it was him.
Are you there?
Okay, is this Roby?
I was muted.
Oh.
Ah, you're on now, Roby.
Roby, go ahead.
I'm Roby with Twice as Nice Carpet and Upholstery Cleaning. Been in the business now for 16 years. Almost a master cleaner. Finally going to be able to take my color class. So by April, I should have my master in cleaning and carpet upholstery, tile and grout cleaning. Enjoy it, and I do it all by myself. So,
Roby, where are you located out of?
I live in Shasta Lake City, but it's 5 minutes away from Redding, California. So I do about 99% of my jobs are in Redding. So.
Uh-huh. Shasta Lake, that was called Central Valley up until about a decade ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty good. It's still Central Valley to me.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful country there too.
Yeah, it's really
beautiful.
Yeah, we live about 5 minutes from Sinamudi, so it's really nice. Really nice.
You have your hands full cleaning out that red dirt, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I do all right, though.
Oh, good.
Before we go on to Ernie to give a little history, what I'm going to do is we're still having that feedback somewhere. So what I'm going to do is mute all the callers and then have you guys who are on the panel just click either click on your screen, you know, where it's the telephone or the microphone to unmute, or if you're on the phone, you can click *6 and that will unmute you. So I'm going to see if I can clear that. So bear with me for 1 second. We'll see if we can get a clearer audio here. Okay, so Ernie, do you want to come back on? Oh. I guess we lost Ernie there for a second. Okay, and then Roby, do you want to come on, and the rest of the panel, just so we see if we have everybody clear?
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm back.
All right.
Ready? Steve?
All right, I think I'm back here.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Ernie.
Okay, yeah, I'm Ernie Goodrow, Ernie's Carpet Care in Woodinville, Washington. That's the Seattle area. Moved up here about almost 24 years ago from Southern Cal. Started my career in this business down in Southern California for 11 years, and then moved up this way, started my business over again. Small business, we've got 4 trucks, and I've got I have 3 part-time cleaners and 2 full-time cleaners, and 2 part-time ladies in the office along with my wife, and then myself. So I do a little bit of cleaning now and then. I mostly do the estimating. I do a lot of training. Fortunately, I've got a really good lead guy that helps me with the training. And we do carpet upholstery, a little bit of tile cleaning, area rug cleaning, and again, been in business 35 years, and mix of residential and commercial.
All right, great. Again, I love your guys' backgrounds. You got a great history from it. So Doug's ready to jump in, but Doug, let's narrow it down to talking about when you arrive out at a customer's house. Is a couple of questions just that you can kind of go on before you actually walk up to the door. The questions that you can consider talking about is, first of all, what does your vehicle look like? Is it lettered? What kind of cleanliness do you try to keep it? And when you show up at the home, where do you park? Do you park in the driveway? What kind of, how do you set up? How do you arrive? Is there any pre-arrival ordeal and system that you go through?
Policies and procedures, my friend. That's what it is. On our company policy, the first thing you do when you pull up to the house is to make sure your breath is good. Take a mint, spray, whatever, piece of chewing gum. I'm not real thrilled about the chewing gum, but it's better than having bad breath. Make sure your hair is combed, or you at least look presentable. So one quick look in the mirror, and I always park on the curb first. I don't pull into people's driveways unless they're an existing client and I've pre-qualified it. So with every new client, this is how I handle it. Then we walk up to the front door. I kind of like give the house a once-over to see if the yard is well maintained, manicured. That kind of gives me an idea of what I might expect on the inside, what I might have to look forward to. Knock on the door, ring the doorbell, take 2 steps back so I'm not right in front of the door when the client opens the door. Introduce myself. I think with most of these guys, I'm looking at their pictures, wear a shirt with my name on it, my company name, and my name, and so they can quickly identify who I am. That really does help with the first-time client. Wipe my feet off, and I make that an intentional statement. So I hesitate before I walk in and wipe my feet off. They know that I'm actually going to not make their house dirtier. Steve Tobirin calls those unspoken moments of truth. And so after that, we'll walk in. I introduce my employee, who is always with me on jobs, and then we kind of take the tour of the house. I ask them questions as we go through. Obviously, I'm looking at the carpet, if they have any rugs, as we're going through. Then I ask them after they give me the tour of the house. In each room, I pause, not a long pause, but long enough to ask them any special needs or concerns in this room.
Hey, Doug?
If they're not obvious. Yeah.
I'm going to cut you here. We'll kind of go through and kind of still check the other panel members. We're going to go through this kind of as, otherwise we'll get confused. So we want to deal with sections at a time here. So
you got it. Okay.
So I'm going to just kind of hold on this introduction part, because one of the things I think that makes the successful companies successful is kind of what you said, is you have procedures. And, sometimes I see carpet cleaners driving around, and I go, boy, if they were to drive up in front of my house, that would make me nervous. So I think there's a very important thing, is that first presentation of, what you look like. So
yeah, that's a good point, Stephen. You did ask if what my van looked like. I do have lettered and logoed van with some really nice artwork on it. I try and keep it presentable. It's not always spotless on the exterior, but I try and keep the interior just as clean as I do the exterior. What I've found over the years is when people see the hose running into the house, sometimes they'll just look at the equipment, not knowing what they're looking at, but they look at the equipment, and that says volumes, how your equipment's maintained. So those are just 2 of the other questions you had asked that I didn't have an opportunity to mention. But, yeah, let's go on to another panel member.
Outstanding. Roby, what about you? When you pull up, do you have a procedures that you follow through to get you ready to greet the customer and tell us about your van.
I always pull around the corner before I pull up to the house to make sure I have everything together, so I'm not parked out in front of the house for too long. I can just get out, and I always make sure my hair's combed, but since I don't have any.
Nice, that's Roby.
And I always check to see if I got any food or something in the corner of my mouth. I just give myself a look over, and then I always try to keep gumming my van. And then when I get to the house, I always park on the curb, walk up to the front door, I have my booties with me, and then give a knock, and I step back and I put my card out as soon as they walk to the front door, so they know the name coincides with the person there on the name of my shirt. And then I put on my booties as I walk in, and I ask, just give me a tour and show me what you need done, and any rooms that you have any concerns about, or any problems, or any smells that you may be smelling, or what's this spot, what's that spot, what happened here, and I don't know what that is, or the dog did this, or my kids spilled tea. And then as I'm walking through, I started writing myself little notes, and I just put their name, address, phone number, and I just do all my measurements with the little notepad, and I take notes with everything, and then I sit down after and I write out the estimate from there.
All right, because we're going to get a little bit more of the details such as that. We're going to take off and kind of go into the next steps here in greater details, but that's great. One thing on Roby, that the picture that's on the screen, for those of you who can see it, is Evan Kessler. That should look familiar. That's Roby, who was on your cover of the September issue of ICS Magazine.
It certainly does.
We have, we can, autographs are available after this call. Is that right, Roby?
There you go.
So he's a celebrity. But what impresses me about Roby is so few people actually wear the patches that they're, certified technician and what the areas are. And every time I see Roby, it's like, wow, he deserves to get more money just because he's got patches. So to me, that is a very impressive thing to have. So I congratulate Roby on that.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah. All right, Ernie, do you have anything to add up about this kind of the arrival? What do you do to kind of set the scene? Anything new to add?
A lot of it's a lot of what's been said. I'd be repetitious, but one of the things that I'll add that we do before we even get there, if we're arriving for an actual job, we've already sent them a letter, and it tells them how to prepare for us. So hopefully that when we get there, they've done a good job preparing. Not always, but it helps. It also talks about other services that we do. It talks about the importance of protection and that sort of thing. And so, and one of the things we do is we'll introduce ourselves at the door, like they had talked about. We have a business card with a picture on it, or we'll have an identification badge, because we do have both. And stepping back so not to crowd the customer is very important, because we're coming to their home and that can be intimidating. If it's a regular client, that changes a little bit. You have a rapport with them usually and that sort of thing. And then we've got, before we walk in, we'll roll out a mat that we have that says it has the name of our company on it, and we wipe our feet and go in. If we're going to clean, we won't put booties on. If I go out to do an estimate, which I do a lot of, I'll put booties on before I come in. And even if they say, oh, no, you don't have to do that, even a lot of times I put the booties on and I'm walking into a pretty soiled carpet, and a lot of times they're embarrassed to have me put booties on, but I insist on that. And so those are kind of the things. Everything else, it sounds like these guys have it down and they have a system. And I think that's the key, have a system, and train your people to use that system, and it makes a huge difference. It's that wow factor.
Yeah, and I want to ask the rest of the panelists just to kind of get a real quick survey. is how many of you wear booties while you're cleaning, as opposed to leaving them for the customers?
Well, what we do is after we set up and then we start cleaning, after we will not go into a room that's been cleaned again without booties on.
Okay.
So, but for bringing things in and out, we don't wear booties.
All right.
Not unless we have a customer like the one we had a couple weeks ago that didn't want our hoses to even touch her floor. That was interesting. And so we cover the floors, and our hoses, they weren't filthy or anything. It's just she was a clean freak, and she didn't want any of the hoses. So we wore booties, one guy inside, one guy outside, and never took the booties off the whole time we were in the house.
There you go.
So you run, everybody's different, and not all the customers are exactly the same. Their expectations are all different. So.
Yeah, my MO at King's Carpet Service is to wear the booties after the carpets have been cleaned. If we're walking on a cleaned carpet, we have booties on, and then oftentimes the client will request us to leave some, and I do that at no charge for my clients.
Bill, what's your procedures on booties?
Yeah, I leave the customer, as many booties as they need, and sometimes if they have a larger family, it's 5, 6 pairs, and that's fine. We always have plenty of them. And while I'm cleaning, I'm not wearing the shoe covers, but definitely after I clean a room, I will not go in that room again, even if it's a darker colored carpet. I will not walk on it without the shoe covers. So that's just
I think it's all about perception, huh, Bill?
Right.
It really is. A lot of times it's about perception.
Absolutely. And, we're pretty good about drop cloths and laying towels down, especially on any entryway or a transition from a hard surface to carpet. There's always towels we have laying down. I bring a stack of towels in. So, yeah, I'm sure you guys are all doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Bill, when you start your tour of the house, the customers, you ask the customer, okay, would you give me a tour of what rooms you would like to have cleaned today? As you're going through, do you ask the customer any of the history? What kind of history would you like to know about that job before you get started?
Well, you're talking about a new customer?
Yeah, a customer you've never done before, so you don't know much about the carpet. So what sort of questions are in your routines that you would normally ask?
Well, I'd want to know when the last time they had the carpets cleaned, if there's any, indoor pets that I have to, then that will trigger if there's, pet stains that I need to deal with. Pretty much just, and you get an idea, just like one of the other panel members said, just by pulling up to the house, if you get an idea how they take care of the outside, that's going to pretty much reflect on the inside. So, and that, that's going to reflect as far as how often they vacuum. But I definitely want to know how long it's been since they've had the carpets cleaned before. That'll go a long way in knowing, how they're going to be as a client and what their expectations are going to be.
Okay.
The only little caveat I would like to add to that, Steve, is not only do I do all this over the phone prior to arriving on a job with a new client, and then we keep all the client's history on our computer, so I know what we did, when we did it, but one of the things on a new client, I'll ask them not only how old is the carpet, when was it last cleaned, but who cleaned it. And for me, if it was a Kim dry cleaning previously, there's some more pre-qualifications that I need to do about dry time or about wicking or about some other things that they might have concerns with. So I've been doing it long enough that I know that my clients who are switching from a bonnet cleaning system over to a steam cleaning system, that there are going to be some other concerns and questions that arrive, and I try and troubleshoot that prior to actually doing the cleaning job. So there's pre-cleaning instructions, much like Ernie had talked about. I provide those for my clients prior to arrival on a job, and then there's post-cleaning instructions as well that I leave.
Yeah, we leave post-cleaning instructions also. I'm thinking, I don't know how many people look at those things, but I always tell them that this is a list of things that you might want to read for after we leave. So that's all the information you can give them is a lot of times very helpful.
You bet.
Absolutely.
Anyone else on the panel have some other questions that they might be asking to get information, such as questions could be helpful to before you start cleaning for these customers?
Well, one of the things I think. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, Ernie, you first. Age before beauty. You go right ahead.
Yeah. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah. I probably am the oldest one out here, aren't I?
That was a low blow.
Actually, you know, I think you touched on it already. I really want to know the history of that carpet. I want to know how old it is. And I want to know as much information about the cleaning habits and that sort of thing if it's a new client. So I will ask lots of questions. And the thing about, do you have any pets? What do you have any concerns from the pets? That sort of thing.
You know, Steve, the funny thing with being a carpet inspector is you don't look at a carpet necessarily, you know, once I became a carpet inspector, I actually looked at a carpet a little bit differently. You know, I'm also looking for low rows, high rows, some dark lines, seams. I'm always pre-qualifying seams. Obviously, that's add-on sales as well. You know, if I can do a simple seam repair, you know, it behooves me to do that and charge a minimal fee. So things along those lines. Looking along the walls, see for water damage. Of course, you know, I did restoration work for a long time, so I kind of have an eye for all that stuff as well. So I don't always necessarily have to ask clients as I am pointing it out to them and asking what is that, or how'd that get there, or how long has that been there. And oddly enough, and I would venture to say that the other panelists would confer with me on this or agree with me on this, is that a lot of times people say, I don't know. It's the mystery spots, you know. So my response is always, well, I'll do my best to get it out, but it's because we don't know what it is. I don't know that I'm going to be successful. And I always, you know, the rule of thumb with my company always has been under promise and over deliver.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it is really amazing how often they don't know what the spot is from. I mean, so often. I mean, I would say more often than not, they don't know what it's from. And so that's perfect, because you say, well, we'll treat it and probably more than once, and we'll do our best to get it out.
I want another survey to take kind of you guys is, how many of you actually make sure you know what the fiber is of the carpet that you're cleaning? In general, I don't think there are very many carpet cleaners that do. Do you guys take the time to figure that out before you start cleaning and to help you pre-qualify a job? And I'll open up to Roby. How about you? Do you ever do an inspection on what the fiber is?
Well, I can pretty much look at it and know that, okay, this is a nylon, or this is what's the I don't remember the
olefin or polyester or wool.
Yeah, the what's the carpet that has a crushing problem? Can't think of the name of it.
Polypropylene?
Yeah, the
polyester.
Polyester.
Polyester, that's it. Yeah.
I think both of them really have a crushing problem.
Yep. What's that carpet that came out with that's supposed to be the stain resistant?
Oh, it was Genesis back a long time ago, but Stainmaster is a stain-resistant carpet, but it's either going to be a polyester or an olefin.
Yeah, it's that they made the residential, put the olefin, they made it look like the Berber cup pile.
Yeah.
Pretty inexpensive. That's just the worst in the world. And I just tell people, well, I will do my best, but it's probably not going to come back.
I think one of the important things is to let them know what that traffic area is going to look like. I mean, what are their expectations? Because if you've never worked for them before, and just in a case I guess it was a couple weeks ago, went into a house with an off-white carpet, and I mean, it was extremely soiled, and they told me it hadn't been cleaned in 14 years. You really have to qualify that job. You know, you really have to make sure that they have realistic expectations of something like that.
Hey, on those jobs, do you grab your client about halfway through and show them the difference?
You bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good you brought that up because that's so important. If that client is there, bring them over and show them and see how they react, see if it meets their expectations. And then discuss it with them.
Yeah, Bill, what would you do if you have a job that you go in and it's polyester and it's pretty matted down in the traffic area? How would you go about, what kind of script would you have that you tell the customer not to expect this to look brand new? Is there a way that you break the news to them?
Well, I would just tell them that, we're going to clean the carpet. It's going to be clean. It's going to look great, but the high traffic areas are not going to respond and fluff up like a nylon or a wool would, and that has nothing to do with soil. It's just matted down, and it's not going to fluff back up. It might temporarily, but it's never going to look as good as a nylon or a wool carpet would. And if you go over that with them, they understand because that's just a characteristic of that fiber. So they understand that, especially if they've gone years and it's more restorative than maintenance cleaning. So I don't think I've ever had an issue with that. Typically it's down a hallway right in the middle where it gets a high traffic that it's just it's clean, but it's kind of dingy, it's kind of dull, and matted down.
Because I would imagine that it's better to have that kind of discussion before you start cleaning than after, wouldn't you?
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely, and I'm pretty good about doing that, going over that.
Yeah, pre-qualifying is very important, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
I actually get down and feel the carpet, both in a non-use area and a traffic area. Even being a carpet inspector, I'm not good enough yet to just look at a carpet and go, oh, that's a polyester and all. But I get down and I'll feel it, and if it's these guys have been doing this long enough on this panel, they know that if it's a polyester and olefin, oftentimes it will feel hard in a traffic area and soft in a non-traffic area.
Yeah.
You got to be clear if it's not residue, or you'll know the feel. And then we talk about traffic lane gray, and I've got a couple visual aids that I use for my clients. I have a clear tube that's a braided or use the sandpaper on one end and clear and see-through on the other.
Yeah, we use one of those too. That's very helpful.
It's a nice little technique, and I don't always use it, but if I get a client that looks a little skeptical or has maybe, if I'm sensing that they have higher expectation level than I'm going to deliver, I'll take the time to go out to the van and grab that little tool, when I'm walking back out and bring it in. I don't shove it down their throat or anything like that. It's just, it's more education, and I'm just trying to educate my clients on what I can do and what I can't do.
If I can take a kind of a survey again of the group is about measuring. A couple of questions is, do you, I think everybody measures. Do you measure cleanable space normally and charge for that, or is it wall-to-wall? And what do you use to do the measuring? And one final question is, do you round off to the nearest dollars, or do you, include the pennies when you actually put together the invoice? And Roby, do you want to give some insight onto that?
I just measure the cleanable area, and I use the electronic measurer. And
good man.
I always round to the dollar. I'm not going to be nitpicky and nickel and dime everybody. I just usually round to the dollar. So.
Okay. Bill, what about you?
So it's going to be the same as Roby, cleanable space, and I still have the old school that roller tape I've had since I started in '93. So I know I need to get one of the more the laser, and I need to get that. So, but it still works for me. And then I round to the nearest dollar. Yeah, I just do it that way.
How about Ernie?
It's funny. I use a laser sometimes. I use a tape measure other times. I even use a roller tape sometimes. So it just depends. I go into a residential to give a bid. Most of the time, I use the laser. Most of the time, people are usually impressed with that and that sort of thing. But I've used all those things, and there are times when and I actually measure room length times width, and if I'm going to clean traffic areas in there, I may discount it, but I don't measure, around the bed. I don't do that. I'll measure the whole room. If I'm going to give a break on it, sometimes I'll give a discount on it because we're not cleaning every inch of the room. But I also will explain to the client that if the room was empty, I could probably do it as fast as going around all the furniture.
Or faster.
Yeah, or faster. So my way of thinking is a 10 by 10 room is a 10 by 10 room, whether it's empty or whether there's furniture and obstacle course to go around. So that's my feeling. I used to do it differently, but for a long time now, that's the way we do it. And I have no problem explaining that to them and why and everything else. It's all based on time, how long is it going to take to do it.
I use a sonic measuring device, and love it. I only charge for the area that we're cleaning, so cleanable space, and I do not round up. If it's $999.07, it's $99.07. I don't have a problem charging them pennies. I get paid by check anyway most of the time, yeah, I don't round up or down or sideways, and I only charge them for the area I'm cleaning.
Well, you brought up another question. I want to just, again, quick answer from everybody is, do you guys accept credit cards?
Oh, yes, I do.
Yes.
Yes.
I got a big resounding no at King's Carpet Service.
Oh, you don't?
No kidding.
I quit taking them about 3 years ago.
And do you run into any challenges with that?
No. Steve, most of my clients leave a check on the counter.
Okay. Go
Go in and clean, and, the only exception, and it's a rarity, is with a new client. They'll ask, and typically, I get this a lot. You guys might get this too. Well, we're just trying to get air miles. So they ask if they can use their credit cards. But
I get that all the time.
0.3%, could be 3.2%, and periodically I had credit cards that were charging me 6%. So, and I never knew who was what, and so I quit taking them because I don't want to get dinged 6% on a job, ever.
Yeah.
I want to kind of just ask you guys one final question and get feedback from everyone, and then we'll open it up so the audience can ask questions and give some other input. But we could be spending 2 hours doing this easy. But do you guys have a policy about returning if a spot should reappear? What is your policy, company policy for that?
Our policy is we have a 1-month warranty, and I don't care if somebody spills something on the carpet or they're just not quite sure they're satisfied. Either one will come back. I just went back on one, a callback. It really wasn't a callback. They spilled some wine and called me just to come out and clean it. They thought they were going to pay me, and I got out there and removed the wine and said, there's no charge. You have a 1-month warranty, and it's a no fault. So we do that, and we don't get that many calls for the warranty, but it's there. I had another client not too long ago. We're moving into a house. We cleaned it. I told them you got a 1-month warranty in case there's any mishaps when you're moving in, and 2 weeks later, the daughter threw up all over the white carpet, and it was free. And so it was a great reaction. I ended up getting 3 referrals from that client within a month. It was really something. So that's what we do.
Okay.
Good PR.
Bill, what about you?
It's actually the same, Steve. It's 30 days. If I get a call back for, even if it's something, not a reappearing spot, something that they did after I left, I'll gladly go back there and touch that up, and there's no charge. And for, better clients, like your best clients, it may even be longer. It might be 2 months, and as long as I can do it within my work day and not make a special trip when I'm in that neighborhood, I'm more than happy to do that.
Okay.
I wanted to say something else, Steve. As far as my van, my van is 14 years old, and I'm very meticulous about keeping it clean and armor all the tires, all that. And I must get asked once a week or once every couple of weeks, did you get a new van? And this thing's 14 years old. So I think that's a big thing too, is you're driving around that all day, have that clean, keep it waxed a couple times a year, arm all the tires, and because that says a lot about you, and it's all lettered and everything too. So I think that's
awesome,
a big thing.
yeah. That is awesome.
And it's,
well, I can confirm that. I saw Bill actually drive by today. He was driving down Blossom Hill Road. And yes, your van always, every time I see it on the road, it's always clean and very neat and organized inside. So
right.
Yes, I think that's really important.
Right.
Roby, do you have anything to add to? Do you have a particular policy for if something comes back, a spot comes back?
I have the same policy, 30 days, whether or not it wicked back or they spilt it on their own. And especially my good clients, I have a lawyer client and a few of those, and they spill toner in their offices all the time. And can you come by? I have a spot in my office, and it's usually nothing big, and I don't charge them because they pay me very well. So
you don't have people abuse that policy?
Not yet. Not yet.
Well, I am the odd man out here. I'm a week to 10 days. If it's 11 days, they're on their own. But I figure if it was something I did workmanship, it's a week to 10 days. But I also tell them if the dog walks on the carpet tomorrow with muddy feet, call me. And I figure a week to 10 days is sufficient. And I have clients that utilize it, and I've never had anybody complain that it was the 11th day. If they're a good client, and I've I've had them for a while, not a client, not a customer, and then I'll go ahead and take care of them anyway. So some people I just if they've been with me a long time, I've got third generation clients now in my area, so my name is at stake on most of the stuff, and people know me. I mean, it's a small little community, and doggone it if I can't go anywhere without 10 people showing up and saying hi. So.
Doug, I thought you were going to tell me that you never have spots reappear.
You notice how I said if the dog walks on the carpet, Steve?
Well,
I haven't had a reoccurring spot in I don't know how long.
Well, it's funny because not until I think it's been 2 years ago that we start the 1 month extension warranty type thing. But it's funny, I don't get any more callbacks than I did before. But the thing that I notice a lot of times, we get very few of these, but when we do go back, sometimes we end up either they book some more work or we do something about 25% of the time. So it can be only positive to get back into their house. And we're not pushy sales and we're not like that, but a lot of times they just bring it up. Hey, by the way, I have this sofa I forgot to talk to you about, and that sort of thing. So I always feel like it's an opportunity every time I can go back.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Good call. Yeah.
Well, at this point, I want to open it up to everybody who's on the call. If you have questions that you want to ask these guys, again, over 100 years of experience here, and again, all very highly successful companies, this is your chance. And
let's open it up to everybody but Evan Kessler.
You don't want Evan's questions, huh?
How you doing, Evan?
Evan, you just asked Doug the first question.
Evan knows everything. He's been in the industry longer than all of us put together.
Be good because I'm only half the age of all of your experience.
Yeah, open it up to questions. Anybody, I don't care.
One is if you're just on the phone and you don't have a computer, you can just go ahead and jump in and ask a question. Also, if you are at a computer, you can click on, there's a little picture of a hand with an arrow pointing up. If you click on that button, it's on the upper right-hand side of your screen, that's going to put your hand, it's kind of like you're raising your hand, and then we know that you want to ask a question, we'll call on you. And after you ask your question, click on that little arrow because it turned down, that'll lower your hand. So does anybody have any questions? Feel free to ask. If not, I have pages of questions I'd love to ask these guys and continue on, but I want to give you the opportunity to ask.
Well, I don't see any hands jumping up, Steve, so I've got a question for the panel. Pricing. Can we talk about that?
As long as when you say what your price is, say where you live, because, you know, pricing is going to be, you know, a little bit dependent on where you're located. But
Yep.
Sure, go ahead. Doug, you're asking. I'll let you talk first. How much are you charging?
Oh, gee, thanks, Steve. I'm about 65 cents a square foot, and that includes protectant. And that's, you know, nylon, olefin. Wool is going to be about 85 cents a square foot. So right around that price range.
Okay.
Tile and grout, we didn't talk a lot about that, but I noticed there's a huge variation on tile and grout pricing. I'm at about $1.50 to $1.75 a square foot for porcelain, ceramic, tile and grout cleaning, and about $3 a square foot for stone to clean and seal stone.
Doug, when you're doing carpet, what is your average hour at the job? From the time you pull up to the time you drive away when you're doing carpet and upholstery, what is your job average or your hourly?
Gee, Steve, it's not long. I try and do 1, maybe 2 jobs a day. I can tell you what my job average is. I was just looking at that yesterday, $550 job average.
Okay.
So I try and do 1 or 2 a day.
Okay, so you're well over $100 an hour generally?
Yeah, and I usually only work a half day.
Okay.
I'm probably around, with me and my guy, right around the $350 range an hour.
Per hour, okay. So, but
Yeah.
it's a two-man crew there. Okay.
Two-man crew.
Nice hourly. I can tell you're pacing yourself.
Well, you know, at my age, you got to do that.
All right, Bill, how about yourself? You willing to share your pricing?
Sure. I'm right. I have lots of customers that are clients that are right at 60 to 65 cents. I have some that are a little bit more than that, and then I have, you know, a small portion that is 50 to 55, but right around 60 to 65 is where most everybody is. And as far as upholstery, I'm, gosh, $36 to $42 a linear foot for that, for upholstery. So
Okay. On your carpet prices, is that wall-to-wall or cleanable space?
that's cleanable space, and that's without protector. Yeah.
Without protector. See, that's
Without,
the thing. Whenever we compare prices, you always want to make sure, you know, is that including moving furniture? Is there protector? Is it wall-to-wall or cleanable space? Those, you always want to understand what it is that the customer's getting for the dollar. Roby, again, remind us where you're located and then how you're pricing if you're willing to share.
I live in Shasta Lake, California. Most of my work is done in Redding. I'm charging 30 square foot. That does not include protector. That includes moving some furniture, couch, chair. I charge about $60 for an average size house, 700, 800 square feet of cleanable area for protector. I charge about $35 for average staircase, about 14 stairs. If they're longer, wider stairs, I will charge a little more accordingly. Other than that, I'm about $1.25 to clean and seal tile. I don't do much tile and grout cleaning because people up here don't clean their tile. Other than that, that's about where I charge upholstery. $25 to do a couch.
Very good. All right, Ernie, how about you? Willing to share?
Yeah, I'll give you an average because I think just like Bill, I have some customers that are 50 and 55 cents, and it depends on whether it's how soiled the carpet is, are we moving furniture or not. But average is 60 to 65 cents. Oops, some kind of feedback there.
Yeah.
The average on the carpet cleaning is about 60 to 65 cents, and protection is 20 cents a square foot extra. Let's see, upholstery is 32 to 36 a lineal foot. And
does that include the protectant also?
Pardon me?
Does that include protectant on the upholstery?
No, that's it's extra for protection, and we get
What
about $12.50 lineal foot.
For protection.
How many? I'd like to know how many. What type of menu of services do each one of you offer?
Oh, this is Doug King with King's, and we do oriental rug cleaning, tile, stone, and grout cleaning and sealing, upholstery cleaning, fine fabrics, silks, things like that. I do museum quality rugs as well. Wall-to-wall carpet cleaning, both residential and commercial. My commercial end is about 15% of my business, so I don't do a huge amount of commercial, mostly high-end residential.
That's only like 4 services.
Yeah, and we also do some hardwood floor pad and recoat. So that's about the extent of my services.
Who's the asking the question?
This is Tim with Truly Clean.
Okay, Tim. All right, because I was getting ready to give you a call here. I saw your hand there, so great. Anybody else want to answer Tim's question?
I can go ahead and answer. We clean. Obviously we do carpet cleaning. We do upholstery cleaning. We do area rug cleaning. We do a little bit of tile cleaning. We're starting to do more and more of that. And we used to do wood floor cleaning, and not so much anymore. We've kind of moved out of that. So that's about. Don't do water damage anymore. We used to do that, and that's about the extent of our services.
Okay. Let's. Evan, you have a question.
I do. First of all, Ernie, did you say you do include protector in your price on most of all jobs on carpet? I know you said not on furniture, but
No. It's I get 20 cents a square foot on protection. That's extra.
But Doug was the only one that I heard who is including protector in that 65 cents he's charging. Doug, do you ever get any resistance to that and lower the price to take out the protector, or do you deliver protectant on every job?
I'm guessing at this point, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I would imagine 95% of the residential work I do gets protector with it.
Okay, and the other 3 of you, what would you say the percentage of jobs that you add protector on would be?
Yeah, with me, it's interesting because in the last 2 years, it's up now to about 80%.
That's great.
Yeah.
How about you, Robbie?
Well, you got to remember where I live. A lot of there's Stanley Steamer here. There's Service Master. There's a few other companies that are independent, and they will give it away. They'll get the job, and they'll get the job by giving the protectant away. So
what are they charging per foot with that protectant?
Excuse me?
What are they charging per square foot with that protector?
Sometimes it's like 10 to about 15 square feet for a protectant.
No. What is their total price per square foot with the protectant and the
the whole job? They'll get the job for maybe $220, $250 for cleaning and protectant, and I'll do the job for $250 and then try to add the protectant on there. And if I was recommended, I normally get the job. If I'm not recommended and someone calls me out of the phone book, which I get maybe one call, maybe a month from the phone book, I won't get the job. I just won't get it. And a lot of the guys, they'll do it just to get the work, because my area, it's tough. 65% of the people that live in my area are retired people, and all you have here are pretty much dead-end jobs. So I'm just really starting to break into the higher end of the Reading area, and I'm really starting to get my name out there in that group of people. So it's tough for me, but I've been probably the busiest I've ever been in January for this year. So
excellent.
Good. And Bill?
Yeah, as far as a protector, I would say it's just about every customer that I advise them that they need a protector. It's pretty rare that they don't go with what I'm suggesting. So probably 90% I would say in the high traffic areas.
If you guys are getting 80-90%, I understand, Roby, it's tough in your area. That's the most profitable thing you guys can be doing when it comes to carpet. From my understanding of the business, I'm not a professional carpet cleaner, but I think that's where you really can use your profitability.
I would agree.
A lot of noise.
And another country heard.
I'm trying to get out of here.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for indulging me. I'm going to have to leave, but thank you for allowing me to be on your call.
Good having you.
Nice to hear you.
Thanks, Evan.
You're welcome.
Look for more of these.
All right.
Good night.
Good night. We have Barry is asking a question about how do you guys talk about expectations and how well things are going to clean up. So it's kind of like, I think we touched it a little bit on earlier. It's just how do you set the expectations, and how do you explain the bad news that they may not clean up as well?
Well, Steve, I think I think the best thing to do is give them, if there is bad news, give it to them before, don't wait till after. And I think communication is the most important thing. Now, you're going to have an occasional customer that is going to be disappointed, but I'd say 95% of the people, if you do your job of communicating well, they understand. At least that's my experience. I think it's all in what the prep work of explaining what their expectations should be, what we can do, what we can't do. I think that's the most important part.
I would agree. Pre-qualify. Let them know what you can perform and what you can't perform up front. Keeps the surprises to a minimum, and always just be honest and forthright with your clients. And if you know what you're doing, that's not hard to do. I know that in my area there's 70 companies that service my vicinity, my cleaning area, and so it's not easy with the competition, but hey, once you develop a good name for yourself, I think that's one of the big keys is developing that name.
I was really don't care how many carpets I clean. I just want to be profitable, and I want to do every one as best I can do. So if I do 2 jobs a day, there's been times we've done 1 job in a day with 1 truck, and maybe the other truck's off doing 2. But the point is I don't care how many I do. I want to do the best I can, the most thorough job I can, but I also will charge for it. So that's always been our philosophy.
Great philosophy.
Okay. Again, we're open to anybody having a question, chime in and ask or raise the hand on the computer screen. Glad to, you want to pick these guys' brains here. This is a great opportunity.
I got a question.
Okay.
What type of yes.
I'm totally broke up, couldn't hear it.
Yeah, could you ask the question again?
What do you do for marketing your service company? How do you gain customers or new customers?
Okay, that's kind of a broad question. So
little by little.
Little by little.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
What about you? How do you get new customers?
It's
Who did you ask that to, Steve?
I was asking that to Bill.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just you know, you work off of your existing customers, and that's who you market to, that's who you ask for referrals from, and that's just how I've done it, and that's where you're going to get your better results, is the people that are happy with your work. That's who you're going to, you know, send your newsletters and thank you cards and all that to, and that's who you're going to, for the most part, get your referrals from.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
no yellow. Yeah.
I second that also. That's pretty much, it's mostly, most of our business comes from referral. We get some off our website, and we get some from here and there, but for the most part, I do about the same thing that Bill's talking about.
Right.
Roby, now where you're located, I know you used to do advertising. Are you still doing much of that?
No, it's the biggest waste of money I've ever spent in my life. I got this year one job out of the phone book, and last year was the same thing. I just do my newsletters, thank you cards. I joined the chamber, and I couldn't stand the chamber a couple years ago, but I kind of got over that, and I joined LaTip. I've been in LaTip now for 10 years, and that kind of helped me get over meeting and greeting people and the fear of that. And every time I go to the chamber, I'm in 2 chambers, Reading and Anderson. I make sure I meet and greet everybody by shaking their hand, and I think that really stands out to people. If you can just meet people, shake their hand, and give them your card, and ask them what they do, man, they're going to respond positively to you, and they're going to remember that. So I think a lot of, well, 100% of my business is referrals, so, and repeat. So.
Well, let me twist this question a little bit, because all of you have been in business quite a few years. So somebody listening to the call will say, well, that's easy for these guys because they have established clientele to keep going and get referrals from. If you had to start all over, how would you, and you had no client base to start with, what would you do to quickly build a clientele if you had to start over again? And I'll open that to any of you guys.
Well, Steve, I think I'd take a page out of what you had done with your business, and I would look around and say, we all know a lot of people, right? And so you look about how many people in your life do you know, and I would start letting them know that I'm starting a cleaning business, and here's my card, and maybe send them some information and get the ball rolling on it. And you'd be surprised how many people. I mean, the average person knows what, 200-300 people, and that's a starting point. And then from there, there's other ways you go to an area that you really want to work in, and you can also start a list from there and start marketing to them every couple of months. And then I would maybe join the chamber. I might join LaTip or a BNI if I was just getting started. Those are some of the things I would do. The Yellow Pages is just too expensive, and it's a gigantic price shopping venue. So for me, I don't think I would ever go that way again.
I'd like to add something. I think what you want to do is just, like Ernie was mentioning, start off with your family, your friends, neighbors, and do a great job, and then just ask for referrals. Ask them to help you out. And for the most part, people like you. You do good work. I mean, they're going to want to see you succeed. And I think that's just a great way to go about it. And probably join, like a LaTip or a Chamber of Commerce, and attend those weekly or monthly sessions.
I want to add something too, how important something else is. I don't mean to take over the stage here, but I went to, if you join your local carpet cleaning association, I went to a meeting the other night, and we're all talking, and this has been a different kind of year. Things are down a little bit, and we were just all tossing out ideas, and one of my good friends said, you know, I was talking to somebody in Detroit. No, it was in the Washington, D.C. area, and he has a sizable business, and things were a little bit down. And so he got together with his employees. It sounds like he has, you know, probably 20 employees, and he said, you know what, this is my payroll. I don't want to lay anybody off, but let's think out of the box and let's come up with some ideas. And one of the things they did actually they did it last January, I think, is they took and went through their client list and picked their best clients that spent the most money with them in the last year or so, and then they called them up and they said, you know, you've been a great client, I want to give you a gift, and offered to give them, you know, to clean a free love seat or a chair and an ottoman or something like that. And it was amazing. About 5% of the people supposedly said, no, I don't need anything, but another 20% of the people said just had them clean the thing free and that was it. But a high percentage of the clients had more work done, and he was really busy in January and February last year, and he was going to do it again this year, and he probably did. So, you know, sometimes you have to think out of the box. That's it.
I like that idea, because I had my next question was, how do you get out of a slump if you're in one?
Yeah. And you know what? I've been in this business 35 years, and I still don't have all the answers. So every time I talk to other carpet cleaners, and it doesn't matter how long they've been in the business, sometimes you get an idea of somebody who's just starting. You know, I don't know everything, but I sure like to keep my ears open and try to keep learning.
All right.
Yeah, Doug, do you have any comments? If you had to start over again, how would you, and, you know, we're written right at the end here, can you give a real quick answer of what you would do to build a clientele quickly?
Well, something that I've actually recommended to guys that have moved into new areas for themselves and wanted to start a carpet cleaning company is, how do you get your biggest bang for your buck to start up? And so my thinking on that is to hit professional office complexes. So you've got multiple people in a concentrated area and multiple people within an office. And just go in, introduce yourself, ask them if they want a quote for cleaning. The worst they can say is no, and the best you can do is leave 3 or 5 cards. And if you pick up 1 or 2 jobs in an office complex that's a decent size, now all of a sudden they're a cleaner, because you've made their stamp, you've left your information, and you've left a couple extra cards. And now you're breaking into residential cleaning. So that's probably how I would do it if I moved to a new area. I would start off with, you know, doctors, lawyers, that kind of office complex, people with disposable income that care what their facilities look like. Dentists are phenomenal for this. Plus, everybody knows an orthodontist or a dentist, they make great money. So all of a sudden, now you're cleaning their office, now you're cleaning their house. And now you're cleaning their friend's house, because their friends all like clean stuff too. So that's how I would do it. And then, of course, for all of us, most of us, it sounds like anyway, most of our business, I can say for myself, almost 80% of my business is repeat. You know, then there's a small percent that's commercial and a small percent that's referral. So
we're running out of time. Bill has typed in Barry has typed in a question, and if we can just quickly go down the line, and we'll start with Ernie. But Barry's asking, what is your cleaning pace? And what I think he means by that is, how many square feet do you clean per hour when you're in a typical home? So are you cleaning, you know, 1,000 square feet an hour, 300? What? Just kind of real quick, what kind of pace? And then one other question that if you would answer the two, and then we'll go on to the next guy, is what do you leave behind at the customer after you've completed the job? You know, you have your invoice. What else do you leave behind? So those 2 questions. Ernie?
Okay, yeah, and that's going to depend, obviously. I can give you an average, but it's also going to depend on whether there's 1 technician or 2. So with 2 technicians, it's probably 400 to 500 square foot an hour. If it's 1, it's 300 to 400 square feet an hour. In a typical residential where you've got furnishings, and you're not necessarily moving all the furniture, but you have obstacles. In a commercial situation, it's 800 and up per square foot. And as far as leave behind, I always leave a report card, how we did kind of thing, and they don't have to put a stamp on it. We take care of that, and we get a humongous amount of those in. I always like to know how we're doing. And leave behind what they do afterwards, you know, information on what to do afterwards, and that sort of thing, and usually something, some information on other services that we offer.
Very good. Thank you. Roby?
I clean about 300 square feet an hour, residential, about 7 to 8 on a commercial job when I'm by myself or with my son. Always leave aftercare booties, always leave aftercare information. I give them a refrigerator magnet, aftercare spotter, anything that I've found around the house, I stick it in a little baggie, lost and found bags. What else? Usually a smile and a handshake, and I'm on my way to my next job. So, and I just always let them know how much I appreciate the business. And I think
That's a good call.
I think when you tell them how much, because I really do. I mean, being in the economy that we're in, I really feel blessed to be busy, because there's a lot of guys out there that they're not doing anything, and I feel kind of bad for them.
Yeah.
So just to say thank you, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your business. And then 2 days later, I give them a phone call back and ask how everything dried, and then within those 2 days, I send them a thank you card or a welcome card, and man, that right there just goes a long way. So
fantastic.
Yeah, we do the same thing, and that's a great touch.
Okay, and Bill, real quick.
I would say I'm right 250 to 300 square feet an hour as far as cleaning, residential, and everybody gets a new customer will obviously get a magnet, and if it's an existing customer, they'll get a couple of cards. Usually, if I haven't done the upholstery, I definitely leave them. We've already talked about, at some point, I'm, reminded them about at some point doing their upholstery, and I will leave them a newsletter behind. New customer will get a aftercare guide. It just talks about drying time and maintenance, how often the carpet should be cleaned, things of that nature. Obviously, as many shoe covers as they need, they're going to get all those. So there's quite a bit I leave behind, and a bottle of spot cleaner as well.
Outstanding. Doug, do you have anything to add?
Yeah. Man, these guys are thorough. I'm going to have to revamp my whole process. I do about 600 square feet an hour on residential, up to 1,000 square feet an hour on commercial. Using RX-20 on everything I do anymore.
And you're a two-man crew?
Two-man crew.
Okay.
And let's see, after cleaning instructions, refrigerator magnet is what I leave behind. And was that the extent of the questions?
Yeah, whatever it was you left behind after.
Yeah, that was it. There you go.
All right. Gentlemen, I really want to thank you for your time, for being on the panel. I just love getting this information. And again, it's from the guys who know how to make it work. And so if everybody, if you want to type in the letter A in the little chat area, and then send that off, you can see that as being applause, or you can just chime in and say thank you. But we're going to wrap up this call, and appreciate everybody who joined in.
Hey, Steve, I appreciate you having me on.
Good to have you guys. Thank you so much.
thanks,
For Doug Keene here, I appreciate being on the same panel as you guys. I actually learned something tonight, as I always do when I'm hanging around with my peers. Thank you for your information, and I'll try not to plagiarize. I won't use anybody's company names, but I am going to take some of that information and utilize it. So thank you.
Hey,
I appreciate it, guys.
It's nice meeting all you guys.
Absolutely. It was a lot of fun, and really appreciate this.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
And thank you, Steve.
You're welcome. Everybody have a good evening, and thanks again for joining us.
Bye now.
Thanks a lot, Steve.
Steve, I'm going to stay on for a second. Are you still there?
I'm here.
All righty. That went well.
Okay,
And
well,
again,
let's hold on just a second. We still have a few people in there. Matter of fact, I'll tell you what, give me a call on my cell phone. We'll talk.
Okay, you got it.
All right.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.